send the second part of the Shankara Bhashyam, because I don't have the second PDF after that. Till the last one was, I'll just share it with you.
No, I only sent you one part of Shankara Bhashyam, which is still we are not finished.
Yeah, you have sent only one part.
That has
going on.
Sorry?
Till the 15th shloka, right? The Paramam Yo Mahatejaha.
Just,
only till there you have sent.
Let me just check 1 second. Yeah. That is till the 15th.
Okay, fine.
Which is
till the 15th one, yes.
Paramam Yo Mahateja, Paramam Yo Mahabrahma, till that.
Correct.
After that, because
yes. Okay, fine. I thought
we have only started. For next class, we will start Acharya's answers, right? So
yes.
Okay. I will send it to you before we finish this 15 shloka.
Okay. And regarding the japa, when we were discussing the question which Yudhishthira asks, you discussed about the 3 types of japas. But is it not that we have to go stage by stage? Because we as a human being are not up to that extent that we can reach to the Manasa japa directly. So, we start chanting.
Absolutely. But then you must have this.
We have to go one step by one step.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do, because by doing Ucha japa of Vishnu Sahasranamam, for example, what you gain memorizing that japa, right? That is why for memorizing anything in our school and all that, when we are children, arithmetic and all that, these tables and all, they will ask us to repeat it loudly.
We'll say loudly.
So when you actually repeat it loudly, it gets registered. So that Ucha japa is a stage, the first stage of starting the japa. Once you have actually memorized it fairly well, then you move over to the Upam, which is then you are not disturbing anybody. Then you are doing japa and then on your own. But then there also the tongue is involved, the lips are involved in doing the japa, right? So it is not a one karanam japa. It is a the manas is involved as anta karanam, and also your lips or your mouth is involved as a bahya karanam. When you then go to the third stage of manasa japa, that becomes purely anta karana oriented, and maximum benefit you will get in that only. Maximum benefit of Chitta Shuddhi you will get in that stage only, in Manasa Japa. In the other stages are all, as you rightly said, step 1, step 2 and all that. You have to go through those steps and then reach the Manasa stage. And even after you are able to do the Manasa stage, still lot of care you have to exercise so that you don't allow the mind to go away from the Japa. So you have to keep on monitoring the activity of the mind at that stage, till that japa itself becomes the second nature of the mind. Mind will not think anything other than the japa at that stage. Till you reach that stage, the Manasa japa has to be continued. It's a long process. It's not can't be done like
Class കഴിഞ്ഞില്ല.
ധന്യവാദം മഹോദയ.
It's snowing heavily, so I'll go to the gym now because it's reduced. I won't be able to pick up outside.
People are sharing all their secrets with us. So this is what it is. Any other questions?
Yeah, can I ask one?
Yes, please. Tell me.
Yeah. I mean, not for Vishnu Sahasranamam, but there are other, new other jabas or shlokams which, as you grow older, is a bit difficult to learn. So by listening, what about listening to them? Like, some of them I listen while cooking or doing something. Is that, I mean, some form of, there will be some, I mean, obviously I'm trying to learn them, but it takes time to learn over a period of time.
True. But you see, listening is also good, but it will not give you that much of effect, because what happens is listening is, if you are going to listen to it full focus, concentration, only that, then it's a different thing. You will get some benefit. But normally what I have seen is people when they are driving, they put on Vishnu Sahasranama tape. And they think that they are listening, but actually their whole focus is on the traffic. Isn't it? So that is not an effective listening at all. Or you put on something and then do your cooking and this, that and all that. And they think that they are getting some punya out of it. Yes, certainly some punya will come, no doubt. But that will be just like what, as I told you, what the animals and other jivas get by listening. See, sadhana is meant for a sadhaka. And listening is not a sadhana. Of course, listening is a sadhana for learning. Shravanam is a part of this thing. But Shravanam of the Vedanta Shastras, what this thing. So that is learning rather. Listening is good because at least when you are listening, one advantage is you can actually avoid a lot of bad thoughts entering your mind if your mind is actually listening to something good. So it will give some benefit, no doubt. But what you have to do is you have to learn, then do from Ucha to Upamshu to Manasa Japa, you have to graduate.
Go through that path.
And that is why, in Sandhya Vandanam, when we do, and especially somebody asked me just now about the Gayatri Japa. Gayatri Japa is supposed to be only a Manasa Japa. Gayatri Japa is neither Ucha nor Upamshu. So from childhood itself, we are trained to do the Gayatri Japa as a Manasa Japa.
Correct.
So then when you actually progress, that practice of this Manasa Japa of Gayatri helps you a lot in so many other things. So this is how the entire, see, if you look at the Shastra and the structure of it, such a beautiful thing, they have thought of everything, and then, very, I would say, as a child, it is easy to memorize. Absorb and memorize.
Correct. Very true.
So all these things they have actually, thought about it, and that's why they introduced this. And in fact, the Sandhya Vandanam covers everything. It covers Ucha Japa, Upamshu Japa, Manasa Japa, everything Sandhya Vandanam covers, actually speaking. And also physical activity. You get up, do Namaskara, Sashtanga Namaskara 3 times, 4 times. Right? So it is, and then you do Pranayama in Sandhya Vandanam. So all this, it's a Sandhya Vandanam, if somebody does 3 times a day, it is a very big, exercise for mental exercise and physical exercise also.
Correct.
According to me, you don't need to do any yoga and all that if you are doing Sandhya Vandanam regularly. That is my take. Of course, it does not mean you should not do. If you got time and energy, you can do other yogasanas and all that.
Correct.
But Sandhya Vandanam itself, according to me, is sufficient. And along with that, if you do Surya Namaskara, Surya Namaskara is a part of that. So if you do Surya Namaskara, then your entire Yoga Shastra is covered in that. Matter over.
Correct. All the asanas.
Fitness.
Thank you. Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavadaha. Thank you. No more questions, so we'll close the session.
Dhanyavadaha. Namaskaram.
Next Sunday. Okay, Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam
Kurum me Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvata Ganapathy Namaha
Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Gurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Pudhananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Putra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Ishwaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vatyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Sri Medha Dakshina Murti Swami Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai
நைட்ல லிஃப்ட் போயிட்டு வந்துட்டே இருந்தது. யார் இது இப்படி போயிட்டே இருக்கா சொல்லிட்டு சும்மா வெளியில போய் அங்க போய் நின்னுட்டு பார்த்தேன். பார்த்தனா அதுக்குள்ள லிஃப்ட் மேல வந்துடுது. சரி யாரோ தெரியல சொல்லிட்டு கோவிந்தா கோவிந்தா பார்த்தா நம்ம ஃப்ளோர்ல வந்து பட்டுன்னு
सच्चिदानंद रूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदांत वेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वलोकहिते रतं वेदाब्ज भास्करं वन्दे शमादिनिलयं मुनिं सहस्रमूर्ते पुरुषोत्तमस्य सहस्रनेत्राननपादबाहोः सहस्रनाम्नां स्तवनं प्रशस्तं निरुच्यते जन्मजरादिशान्त्यै. Namaskar once again to all of you. So we were seeing the second question, and then we went on very quickly to the third and fourth questions in the last class. Anyhow, third and fourth questions, I was not very satisfied. I felt I went very fast. Anyhow, doesn't matter. We'll just summarize what we saw in the last class. So the second question was of Yudhishthira to Bhishma, Kim va api ekam parayanam, which is the one goal which human beings should have in their life. Ekam parayanam, one and only goal. Right? We have different goals at different periods, but ultimate goal, which is the one goal. And for that, Adi Shankara had quoted from Vidyate Hridaya Ganti Chidyante Sarva Samshaya Chiyante Chasya Karmani Tasmin Drishte Paravare. From Mundaka Upanishad, he had quoted this. That should be the goal. Yasmin Drishte Paravare, by knowing very well which the hearts, Vidyante Hridaya Grantihi, the knots in the heart are broken. And as I told you, the knots are in the form of avidya, kama, karma, ignorance, desires, and actions. These are broken, these knots. Then the next one was Vidyante, Chidyante, Sarva Samshaya. All his doubts, like Atma Asti, Nava Asti, Atma Asti Vanava, is it something called Atma is there or not? Atma Ekam Va Anekam Va, is Atma one or there are many Atmas? These are all doubts, people who come into the spiritual field, initially they will have all these kind of doubts. Then Punarjanma Asti Vanava, whether we have a rebirth or not, all these doubts will come. So by knowing that Param Ayanam, that ultimate goal, all these doubts will be resolved. Right? Then Chiyante Cha Asya Karmani. I told you all the karmas are destroyed by knowing that. Basically, by getting moksha or attaining moksha, all these things happen. And that is why Param Ayanam is called, because the word Ayanam has got two meanings. One is Ayanam means a path. That's why we call Dakshinayanam, Uttarayanam and all. Right now, Uttarayanam is going to start in a few days. So that is a path, the path which the sun is taking. But there is also another meaning which is called the goal. Ayanam means the goal, the destination. So here we have to take the meaning as the destination, goal, Param Ayanam. Okay. So Tasmin Drishte Paravare, we said. And then Adi Shankara said, Yasya Vijnana Matrena Ananda Lakshanaha Mokshaha Prapyate. By knowing very well which moksha in the form of, which is characterized by Ananda Lakshana, Swarupa Ananda, happiness, just happiness, pure happiness, one gets prapyate. So this is what he said. So he defines moksha as Ananda Lakshana. So that is the ultimate goal also. And that is our goal in every seeking that we do in our life. Whatever we seek in our life as a goal, maybe a short-term goal or a long-term goal in our Laukika life, It is only for what? For Ananda Lakshanam Prapti only. We want to become very happy, always keep on being very happy, isn't it? So ultimate goal is also in the form of Ananda Lakshanam. And what is that form? It is Purnatvam. I have no limitation. I have nothing. I don't miss anything in my life. I am Purna. So that when you get to that understanding, then Ananda Lakshanam Prapyate, it says, right? So what we have to understand here is moksha is not taking another body. The travel of the Jivatma in search of another body ends in this life itself. That is what is moksha. It is an escape from the cycle of Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. And we don't know how many births we have taken. Crores of births. In fact, in Shiva Puranam, it is very beautifully said. Okay, it is I will just translate it in English. We could have been born as a blade of grass, a verb, a tree, an animal, a bird, snake, stone, or a human being in the past janmas I'm talking about, right? In essence, we could have been born as any of one of the flora or fauna. We are all are jivas. And it is in this birth only I have fully understood, this Shiva Puranam I'm talking about, fully understood your real nature, is talking to Paramatma, Ishvara, Parameshwara, and thus I have attained moksha. So again, glorifying the human birth, that in human birth only we can get this moksha. Okay. And we don't remember all these births, past births, and we should thank God for that. In this birth itself, if we are reminded of some things which has happened in the past, we get into all sorts of problems, isn't it? So this forgetful nature in many ways is very useful. That's what I was reading somebody, the difference between man and God. In fact, one Upanyasakara was mentioned, very beautiful. Man gets and forgets. God gives and forgives. Very beautiful definition here given. The difference between man and God, right? So this forgetfulness is a very useful thing, because otherwise if we start remembering what all happened to it, what all we have did in the past janmas, then it will be a very huge problem for us. Anyhow, so attaining Purnatvam or limitlessness is the goal, right? Goal of this body to attain moksha. And that is why, the word Narayana, the Vipti of this word Narayana, Naranam Ayanam Narayana. So Narayana is the ultimate goal. Mahavishnu is the ultimate goal. So that is how the word Narayana we have to understand. Narayana is the name and form of Vishnu. But the way we have to understand from a spiritual angle, from a Vedanta angle, is Naranam Ayanam, the goal of all human beings is Narayana. That is how we have to understand. Right? And this is the difference between Advaita Vedanta and all other, especially Vishishta Advaita. They take this literally. Narayana is the goal means Mahavishnu is the goal. So I should attain Mahavishnu. I should travel and reach Mahavishnu is their interpretation. But that interpretation may have some pramana or knowledge, a source of knowledge in the Puranas. But that is not the interpretation in the Upanishads. Upanishads doesn't talk about traveling at all. Traveling is only for the jiva. Once the moksha is achieved in this jiva itself, there is the question of traveling. And if you understand the jiva as Atma, which is Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, you can't travel because that Brahman is Sarva Vyapi. It is pervading everything. And if Atma is also Brahman, then the Atma is also pervading everything. When once it is pervading everything, there is the space to travel. Time-wise and space-wise limitless. So no travel is possible. So these are all the subtle things which Upanishads teach us. So that is why he is not going into that route of what is moksha, it means travel and all. He is saying Ananda Lakshanam you become very, very happy, right? So this is pure and eternal happiness he talks about. And he said that Yat Vidwan na bibeti utaschana, right? So these are all again from the Upanishads. He quoted all these words rather, right? So Kimbapyagam Parayanam, he gave the explanation covering 4 aspects. One is Ananda, then Abhaya, because just now I said, Yad Vidwan na bibeti kutaschana. So by knowing which all fear is removed from one's life, he becomes fearless, right? Why fearless? Because once you understand Advaitam, I am the only one, there is no second, then there is no question of any fear. Because all our fears arise from something which is we understand there is something second other than us, and the fear emanates from that other thing. Once you understand there is nothing second, then there is no fear. You overcome all fears, right? Then samsara nivritti, which I told you, samsara, all your doubts, everything is cleared. And punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam also is resolved. And Brahma Bhava, from that, he has said, interpreted this Kim Vapegam Parayam. So 4 angles he has given. He said, Brahma Bhava means what? He says, Yasya cha Vedana Tadeva Bhavati, which we saw in the last class. By knowing which he becomes that itself. So by knowing Brahman, he becomes Brahman himself. That is Brahma Bhava. So all these 4 angles he touched upon, right? Actually, each one of us is Brahman alone. Because of our ignorance, we don't know that. That's all. And the whole Vedanta is all about teaching us that you are Brahman. Tat Tvamasi. That is what is Vedanta's single liner rather, right? And this Brahma Bhava, we can actually experience every day in our deep sleep. Because in deep sleep, if you just analyze what happens, everything is resolved. Your organs, sense organs are resolved. Mind is resolved. Buddhi is resolved. And you are in a state of total happiness. Isn't it? Complete, ignorance is there. That Brahma Bhava is arising not because of jnana, but that is a state which we actually live through every day. That is the state we have to achieve now through jnana. And that is why, all these qualifications which I am talking about in the Tattva class, they all become very, very relevant for this. Okay. And in that state of deep sleep, there is no 2 things. Only you are there. Sakshi Chaitanyam alone is there. There is no Hindu, Muslim, isn't it? No male, female in the deep sleep state. No rich, no poor. Everybody is in the same state in deep sleep. So there is no Dvaitam at all. There is only Advaitam in deep sleep state. And that is why, only in Advaita Vedanta, all the 3 states, that is the waking state, the dream state, and the deep sleep state are thoroughly analyzed. Mandukya Karika analyzes all the 3 states, extremely, I would say, an elaborate analysis of the 3 states, and then establishes that Advaitam is the true message of the Upanishads. So, what happens? We are in the deep sleep state. The moment we wake up, the ego again rises like the sunrise, and then we are back to Dvaitam and whatever we can take. The experiential duality we get, right? So these are the 4 stages. In fact, I mentioned in one of the earlier classes, a conversation between Rama and Hanuman. More or less the same idea is here. The first you start with Dehoham. I am this body mind complex, right? This is the stage with which we start the spiritual journey, where the Artha Kama are very important. All our desires and security, looking for security, very, very important, because total identification with our body mind complex. Then from that we understand Jivoham, one step forward. See, I am body, I am not the body mind complex, but I am something, a jiva, which is actually living in this body mind complex. This is the second stage of development of the spiritual journey, right? So when you have this jivoham bhava, you become a dharmic person. Then what happens in the next stage, dasoham. So when you say Narayana, I am your dasa. So I will come and serve you. So that is the third stage, where dasoham bhava comes. Then the last stage is what? That is the highest stage of param ayanam, which is shivoham. Previously it was shiva dasoham. Now it is shivoham. That Shiva I am. Tat tvamasi, ahamasi. When you say, you have to say ahamasi. That's what Swami Dayananda Saraswati says. In the class, when Guru is teaching Tattvamasi, and the student is asked, what did you understand? He should not say Tattvamasi. Means what? Guru, you are Brahman. Student should say Tat Ahamasi. That is the understanding. That is what is Vedanta is teaching. Right? So this Tattvamasi or Tat Aham Asi, Shivoham, that is the final stage, the stage of moksha, understanding that there is no difference between what we have been considering as Jiva and Ishvara, as Atma and Brahman, no difference at all. The difference were all in terms of the shape, form, name. In essence, there is no difference. That is how, what we have to say, right? So that is what he, presented, all these from the four different points of view he presented. Then we also briefly saw Kam Katam Devam, Stuvantaha Guna Sankirtanam Kurvanta, all that we saw. So singing the glories of the Bhagavan, and in fact in some Tamil literature it is said that the Bhagavan has given mouth only to sing the glories, right? And then which is that Lord for whom Bahya Abhyantaram Archanam Bahuvidam Kurvantah, all this I dealt with it. That is internally and externally doing Manasa Puja, etc. Right? So we can do that, these pujas and all that, in any state. Vishnu Sahasranam Archana, and the Archana is not Archana. You can just Parayanam, you can do at any point, any time in the day. You don't require anything. You can sit in one place, preferably before the deity, because your mind then will be engaged, or any other place where you can calm your mind and do the Parayana. You don't need anything for that. Even the water is not required for that. No pushpam, nothing is required. Just to do the Parayana. Because what is the purpose? Chitta Shuddhi is the purpose. Nothing else is required. So this is all he is saying. No, external puja you can do, internal puja, Manasa puja you can do, and all that, right? So this was the second question, and the third and fourth question we have seen, right? So in essence, he says, tell me that one law.
Asking the 6 questions.
No, the 6 questions, we have completed 4 questions, right? Am I done? Next 2 questions will come in the next sloka. We have covered 4 questions till now. So I'll come to the next sloka in a minute, right? So the essence of this sloka is that which is that one Lord, knowing and understanding whom, praising whose glories, and seeing and worshipping whom, the human beings will gain auspiciousness, right? And Auspiciousness both in the form of going to Swarga and Moksha also. Okay. Because he says Swargadi Phalam, he said, right? So not only in this life, but also if you have decided to go to Swarga, that also that desire also will be fulfilled. So these are the 4 questions we have covered. Then the next sloka talks about the 5th and 6th questions, and we will read that sloka. Ko dharma sarva dharmanam bhavatah paramo matah kim jaban muchyate janduhu jandhur janma samsara bandhanat. So 2 questions he adds here. So according to you, Yudhishthira is asking Bhishmacharya, according to you, right? Bhavatah matah, according to you, which is the highest dharma? Ko dharma hai sarva dharmana. Amongst all the dharmas, which is the highest dharma, right? And kim jaban uchyate, chanting which japa, jiva hai jantuhu, he says, jantuhu means jiva hai, a human being. Janma samsara bandhana muchyate, is freed from the bondage of samsara, and which is fraught with repeated rebirths. Okay. Both in this life and also he is relieved in this life, he gets moksha, and the next life he doesn't have a next life. No punar bhava, he said in the previous book, right? Adi Shankara said. So we will read the Bhashyam. Ko dharma hai purvokta lakshana hai sarva dharmanam sarvesham dharmanam madhye bhavatah paramah prakrishto matah abhipretah iti panchama prashna. Very simple Bhashyam, very nice. Those who know Sanskrit little bit, enjoy reading this, right? So the 5th question is Ko dharma hai. So Adi Shankara says purvokta lakshana hai. I have already explained this dharma right in the beginning itself, right? Sarva dharma parityaja dharma, I have already explained a lot. I am not going into that again. So purvokta lakshana means, as already told, what is the meaning of this word dharma, right? So you must remember Sutva Dharmana Seshena, that sloka. From there, you have to connect it. Right? So we must remember what all is said. Every class has a continuity, has to be maintained. And this is one of the features of a good Bhashyam, which we get to see in all Shankaracharya's Bhashyam. He will not unnecessarily repeat the same thing again and again. If he has already explained it in one place, he will say that, refer to that, and learn what exactly it is. Because in the mantras and all, certain ideas will get repeated. And the first time it comes, he will explain it. And then later on, when it is getting repeated, he will say, refer to what I have already explained. Right? So that is a good indication of a good Bhashyam. Right? So there he said what? Abhyudaya Nishreyasaya Utpatti Hetu Bhudha Chodana Lakshana. We have seen that in detail. No, I won't go into that. So all those things, dharma, he has explained. Amongst all of them, which is the best one? Which is the parama one? The highest one, the most exalted dharma, he is asking. You told me so many things, but tell me one thing which is the highest dharma. Right? So, Sarva Dharmanam, Sarvesham Dharmanam Madhya, he explains, among all dharmas that you have told me, Kaha Dharma hai, Purvokta Lakshana hai, Paramaha means Prakrishta hai. Prakrishta means what? Highest. And we have to add the word Dharma again here, the Prakrishta Dharma hai. Yeah, so we should read it as Sarva Dharmanam Kaha Paramaha Dharma hai. That's how. Because the Dharma hai is second time is not repeated in the sloka, we have to add in the Anvaya. So Bhavata Mata means Abhipreta hai, he says, in your opinion, in your view. Iti Panchama Prashna hai, Bhavata Mata. Panchama Prashna, this is the 5th question. Very simple Bhashyam for this. Then the sixth question was, Kim Jaban Janduhu Janma Samsara Bandhanat Muchyate. Chanting and repeating which mantra or which shloka a jiva born of ignorance would accomplish the end, which is released from the bondage of samsara and released from the life of becoming and also punarjanma. And janma, the word, it stands or it you can say implies all the effects of ignorance. So it is a very one word. The way we have to understand it is not just birth, but all the results of ignorance. That is avidya and avidya karyam. Everything is included in this word janma. So what japa would release a human being from ignorance and bondages caused by this, by the effects of the ignorance. And we have already seen the definition of the word samsara very detailed in Bhavaroga and all that. I explained to you all that, right? So this samsara is the cause for all our dukkha, for all our pains, both mental pains, physical pains, everything rather, right? And this life of becoming, because of which we do end up doing all the karmas. What is happening? We are going on earning more and more karmas, which gets added up to our, and some of the karmas, of course, we actually experience the result of those karmas in this life itself. But the ones which we don't experience the result of those karmas here means punya papas. The good karmas and bad karmas, punyams and papams. They all get added to our karma account, which is called sanchita karma. That keeps on accumulating, and it has accumulated over so many births. All our human births which we have had before this birth, we have accumulated a lot of karmas. So we should not think that this is our first human birth. The birth we have got now only because of karmas. So we have had many human births previously, but we missed the chance in those human births to learn this Vedanta. And that is why we have this birth. So at least in this birth, let us make a beginning. That is what is the Shastra's advice. Chandogya Upanishad says, Yajna Valkya. So you have got a human birth, make use of it. So these karmas are the reason for this rebirth. That's why he says, Kshiyante chasya karmani, once this jnanam comes, all these karmas are destroyed. Once the karmas are destroyed, there is no rebirth. That is how we have to understand this whole, samsara, what he means by this. Janma samsara bandhana. We have seen this word earlier, right? So, Yudhishthira is asking which japa or mantra chanting which an ignorant jiva will be liberated from the bondage of samsara, that is of rebirth. So he is just asking, please tell me at least one thing, one mantra by which people will be relieved or will be released from this bondage. So we must understand one thing. It is not that Yudhishthira doesn't know all these things. We must not think that, oh, Yudhishthira, is asking all these questions. Yudhishthira is supposed to be a person who knows all the dharmas. Does he not know this answer? But Yudhishthira is asking these questions for our sake. Isn't it? Yudhishthira may know, but when he asks the question to Bhishmacharya and Bhishmacharya is replying, and Vedavyasa Muni is actually recording it and then giving it to us in the form of Vishnu Sahasranamam, it is for our benefit that Yudhishthira is asking all these questions. As I told you last class, this is a practice with all Mahatmas. If the students don't ask a question, some Mahatma or some other person who is there, senior person, he will ask a question on behalf of the students. Similarly, even Bhagavad Gita also, the entire teaching appears to be the teaching from Krishna to Arjuna, but Arjuna is only the nimitta for the entire human kind. The whole teaching is meant for us, not for Arjuna. So we have to understand the context in which all these things are said and not start questioning why Yudhishthira did not know all these things are gone. Okay. Because some people have such doubts in their mind. So what Shankaracharya is pointing out here is that this is a stuti karma, right? A prayer of the praise of Lord, and it is capable of making one gain other results also. That is your Arthakama results also this will give you. This will also give you Chitta Shuddhi, and it will also pave the way for moksha. So this japa which Yudhishthira is asking is a sort of a, what they call 3-in-1 or a multiple effect japa. You will get all that you desire in your life through this japa, and which is that japa, right? So that Bhashyam is explaining Kim Japan, Kim Japyam Japan Ucha Upamshu Manasa Lakshanam Japan Kurvan Jantuhu Janana Dharma Anena Jantu Shabdena Jabarchana Stavanadishu Yatha Yogyam Sarva Praninam Adhikaram Suchayati. He's explaining why these words are used. Then he goes on to say, we'll finish reading the Bhashyam and then we'll see the meanings. Janma samsara bandhanat. He says, Janma ajnana vijrumbitanam avidya karyanam upalakshanam samsara avidya tabhyam janma samsara thabhyam janma samsarabhyam yad bandhanam tasmat muchyate mukto bhavati iti shashta prashna hai. Muchyate janma samsara bandhanat iti idam upalakshanam itaresham phalanam api etat grahanam mokshasya pradhanyakyapana artham. This is what is the Bhashyam he explains. Let us see the meanings. Kim Japan. So he says, Kim Japyan Japan, chanting that which is to be chanted. Japyam Japan. Japyam means that is to be chanted. Japan means chanted, right? So the word japa basically has got a laukika derivation. I told you earlier about the word guru. It is not as per Sanskrit grammar. Similarly, japa has got a laukika derivation. In a sloka, Jakaro Janma Vichedaha Pakaro Papanashanaha Janma Papa Haro Yasmat Japa Ityuchate Budaihi. Right? So the word Japa itself, what are the two letters stand for? So Japa Shabda is this is the Lakshana of Japa Shabda. So whichever mantra we chant punah, I mean again and again uchyate, Jakaro Janma Vichedaha. By doing that repetition, letter Ja in the Japa, right, can cut short or destroy all our miseries or the bondage. And Pa stands for removal of all papas. And when we say papas, we have to include punyas also, because it's a upalakshana. Upalakshana means an indicator. Right? So japa stands for these two things. Ja stands for removal of samsara, and pa stands for removal of or destroying of all the papa punya. So the word japa itself contains the entire meaning for janma samsara bandhanat muchyate. So that is how beautifully it's connected. Sanskrit language, if you understand this thing, and people have understood and they have made this sloka for explaining what is this japa means. Okay. So when you do this japa continuously, visualizing the Lord in your mind, your ego will slowly start getting neutralized. And the more and more ego gets neutralized, the Chitta Shuddhi will increase. What is Chitta Shuddhi? Neutralization of ego. That ahankara, which we all have, that gets neutralized. That is what is Chitta Shuddhi. Once the ahankara is neutralized, then only we become eligible, or even we will start understanding what all this means. What is Paramatma, what is Parameshwara, what is Brahman and all. Even to understand them, great degree of ahankara neutralization is very much required. Ego neutralization. Okay. So, Papa Punya Nashanam Dwara Janma Nashanam. That is what I just told you, right? So, we need to repeatedly do the japa, or repeat the japa rather. And when we do more and more japa, the power of that japa will go on increasing. It is just like when we go and do more and more physical exercise, the muscles will start growing and the power of the muscles will increase. Isn't it? So you go to gym and all that, 6-pack, 8-pack abs and all, people have such muscular bodies. Similarly, this japa is for your mind. More and more you do the japa, the power of that japa to actually strengthen your mind will go on increasing. Right? So this increase in the strength of the mind we cannot see. Muscles we can see, but that mind is becoming stronger and stronger, subtler and subtler. We cannot see. In fact, purer and purer. We cannot see that. The mind is not something which we can see. But a person who is engaged in this japa continuously will experience that. Others will not be able to see. That person will experience the strength of the mind increasing. Okay. Shraddha will increase. His trust in a power which at this point in time he may treat it as external to him. The trust in that power will increase. He will start understanding what Ishvara is all about. As I told you, Ishvara is nothing but the order of the universe. The cosmic order is Ishvara. There is no physical entity, with head, tail and all, that's Ishvara. Head, legs, hands and all. Ishvara we have to understand as the cosmic order. And Ishvara is infallible. The cosmic order is infallible. It can never commit any mistake. All powers, whichever power is there in the cosmos, are all there in that cosmic order, whether it is a gravitational power, or whether it is a physiological power, or it is a psychological power. Any power you think of, it's all included in this cosmic order, and that is what is Sarva Shaktiman Ishvara we say. So we have to start understanding Ishvara in this way. But if you straight away jump into that, you may not be able to appreciate it. That is why the Shastras devise the ways of first giving the Ishvara a human form, and then take away the human form and telling you it's all Nama Rupa. So all that procedure Shastra follows, understanding fully well that we won't be able to appreciate what this cosmic order is all about if we straight away get into it. But we have to understand this is what is Ishvara for us. So anyhow, we will go, right? So, Kim Japyam Japan, repeatedly chanting that which is to be chanted, right? And actually in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is actually telling Arjuna all his glories, rather. And you know what he says? He says, Japanam Japayajñosmi. That is the power of this japa. He says, and he gives so many things, among the mountains, I am the Himalayas. And a lot of slokas are there. If I go into that, it will become Bhagavad Gita class. Anyhow. So, What happens whenever we do any yajna or any formal puja, we require so many things, assistance of a priest and things like that and all, isn't it? Japa yajna, no, nothing is required. As I told you just now, you can sit anywhere with mind clean, body clean. Very important. Both mind and body should be clean. Body, you taking bath, you can clean. Mind, how will you clean? Temporarily, you can do pranayama. Anulom Vilom, or 10 times you do pranayama. Mind will become calm, and then you do the japa. And when you do the japa in that state, more and more effect of the japa will go into your mind. Right? And it can be done by anybody, young, old alike. Lying in the bed, you can do Vishnu Sahasranam, you can chant Vishnu Sahasranam. You can't do that for any other kind of a yajna, isn't it? You can do Vishnu Sahasranam in any state. That is the beauty of this japa. So, Shankaracharya further says, Ucha upamshu manasa lakshanam japam kurvan. Right? So, these japas in our Shastras are classified into 3 types. And the Shastras also say that the benefit that we get from each type is different. So first type of japa is ucha, loud, right? You are actually loudly doing Vishnu Sahasranama Parayana. But that has got a problem. The problem is that you may be disturbing other people. While you are trying to gain punya, other people will be cursing you. Because of which you are creating a himsa situation. Yeah, they may not be having tatparyam when you are chanting Vishnu Sahasranam. So, but Ucha Japa is there. You can chant. In fact, there are benefits of Ucha Japa. The Shastra talks about both benefits and the downsides. The benefit is, if you chant loudly, all other beings which cannot chant, like plants, insects, animals and all, they can hear at least. And that will give them a lot of, it will not give them punya, because in their yoni they cannot earn any punya papam, but it will make their life, they will be in touch with the Shastra, so that the next janma when they get, those vasanas will be there with them. So there is an advantage of Ucha Japa also. That's why Veda mantras and all, it is said that you must say it loudly. That is the effect of the Veda mantra should go to the entire environment, entire atmosphere, because they are swaras. Those swaras have got power. So those things are all there. A lot of details are talked about like this in the Shastras. So Ucha means loud. Upamshu means soft, just moving the lips. So that is the second type of japa which Shastra talks about, which is Upamshu. Right? You are going, okay, silent, no sound is coming, but your lips are moving. But in Upamshu, one good thing is it doesn't disturb anybody. But one problem could be that it may become mechanical. The mind may not be involved in the Upamshu japa. It may become mechanical, but still it is better than Ucha japa. Right? Then the third is Manasa japa, which is more or less like meditation. Sit, close your eyes, bring the Lord to your mind, Ishvara to your mind, and do the japa, mental japa, Manasa japa. Fully absorbed, your mind is absorbed in the japa, your mind is absorbed in the altar. And Shastra says that if Ucha japa gives you benefit of, let's say, 1 unit, Upamshu japa will give you 10 times that benefit, 10 units, and Manasa japa will give you 100 times benefit. That is 100 times, 100 units benefit you will get. This is what the Shastra talks about in these 3 types of japas. So wherever possible, we should, From Ucha Japa to Upamshu Japa to Manasa Japa, we must progress. And Manasa Japa is the one which will give you a lot of Chitta Shuddhi, because it only mind is involved in that. Your eyes are also closed so that they are not roaming around to see what else is going on. That is the reason why we have to close the eyes. Otherwise, while we are doing japam, we'll say, oh, who is coming, who is going. Very common. In fact, priests do this left, right, and center when they are doing some puja in our house, isn't it? And it becomes very awkward for us not to point out to them that what are you doing, right? They will talk on cell phone. Japa is going on and some big puja is going on, but all these things they do. That is the Kali Yuga Lakshana. Anyhow, so these three methods he's talking about, that is what Adi Shankara is referring to here. So any of these three types is okay, he says. Japa means if you can't do Manasa Japa, do Ucha Japa. Doesn't matter, but do it. That's what he says. Okay. So, Jantuhu is Janana Dharma hai. Janana Dharma hai basically means Jiva hai. People who have got the Dharma of this birth and death. That is the Janana Dharma, right? Jiva hai, right? So and here we can take a limited interpretation, all Jivas who have got a human body. Even though the word Jiva can extend to all living beings, we can take it as only the human being, because Japa can be done only by the human beings, right? So he explains further, Anena Jantu Shabdena, by this Jantu Shabda, Japa Archana Stavana Dishu Yatha Yogyam Sarva Praninam Adhikaram Suchayati. Right? So by this word Jantu, what is indicates? Suchayati means indicates this Japa, Archana and chanting this Stotra, Stavana can be done based on the choice and capability of each Jiva. As they say, Yata Shakti, Yata Sauharyam, like that, right? So Yata Yogyam Tata Kuru, says the Shastra. So here Adhikaram means qualification. Adhikaram means not right. Adhikaram means qualification, right? So he says that this word Janma itself is born of ignorance. Refers to a Jiva born of ignorance. So Ajnana Vijrumbatanam, that is, Vijrumba means appearing, manifesting. Ajnana Vijrumba means manifesting due to ignorance. Okay. So, what ignorance? Ignorance of Aham Brahmasmi, not ignorance of some subject and all that. It is Aham Brahmasmi Jnana. Ignorance of the real nature of the self. That is what is the Ajnanam he is referring to here, right? And not only that you have Ajnanam of Aham Brahmasmi, you have actually Jnanam of Aham Dehosmi. That is the problem. Even if you are totally ignorant, it doesn't matter. But misconception of what you are, that is the problem. When you say Aham Dehosmi, then everything belonging to this Deva, all the sufferings belonging to this Deva, everything you are attributing to your own self, which is what Vedanta is trying to separate, right? So all these things, the Ichcha, Raga, Dvesha, Dharma, all karmas, karma phalam, punyam, papam, all that we have talked about, all are Deha Dharmas. Our real self, the Atma, does not have any of these dharmas. But because of our ignorance, avidya, ajnanam, we are taking that all to ourselves. We are superimposing all these dharmas on us. And then we say, oh, I am suffering, I am this, I am that. No, I'm having, I'm afflicted with corona and all that. Corona cannot touch our Atma. Atma is asanga. It cannot have any association with anything. So what we say, we are referring to the Atma, but misinterpreting that word I, and then associating it with this body-mind complex. That is what is the problem of our Ajnanam. And because of that Ajnanam, all the avidya karyam, ajnana karyam, the results follow. Okay. So he says avidya karyam upalakshanam, he says, right? Karyanam upalakshanam, he says, right? So then he said samsaro avidya tabhyam janma samsarabhyam. That is, he is just explaining the Sanskrit. I will not go into that. This yad bandhanam tasmat, yad bandhanam tasmat. So he is just explaining that word what he has used, So let us not go to the Sanskrit part of it. So samsaro avidya. This ignorance and ignorance born consequences which are called samsara, right? And tabhyam janma samsarabhyam yad bandhanam tasmat. So the bondage caused by these two, janma and samsara, kim japan, we have to connect. So which is that japa by chanting which this janma samsara bandhanat muchyate, one is freed from this bondage. Mukto bhavati iti shashta prashna. So this is the sixth question, the last question of Yudhishthira. Okay. So Shankaracharya says that liberation of this bondage of samsara is only an indicator. He says, Muchyate is janma samsara bandhanat iti idam upalakshanam. Indicator. Indicator of what? Itaresham phalanam api etad grahanam mokshasya pradhanyakhyapanartham. Right? So itaresham phalanam api, all other results, good results. Here this janma samsara bandhanat, we must not restrict only to that, but all other results also, good results which you are actually looking for in your life. From that also, you will get all those results also, right? And finally, one will get moksha. And as it said that in Vishnu Sahasranamam itself, the later sloka comes. In fact, it gives, expounds this idea. If you know in the Falashruti, dharmarti prapnuya dharma artarti artarti chartamapnuyat kamanamapnuyat kami prajarti prapnuyat prajam. So all these benefits are told in the Falashruti. What all you can get by Vishnu Sahasranamam Parayana, and that is what Adi Shankara has kept in mind. A person who is a dharmarthi, who is a desire for dharmic way of life, he will get a dharmic way of life. A person who is an artharthi, who is looking for a lot of wealth and security in his life, he will get all that security. Kamarthi vapnyat kaman. A person who has got a lot of desires in his life, he will get all those desires. So this is said in the Falashruti. Adi Shankara brings here itself. He says that by this word janma samsara bandhanat muchyate, we must understand all those things. It is not only you are freed from all these things, but you also get all that things that you are looking for in your life. That is how he is beautifully connecting that and brings that idea here in this word janma samsara bandhanat muchyate. So even though moksha is the most exhausted phalam, most exalted phalam rather, right? But dharma, artha, kama are also pursuits which human beings do. Not that everybody is in the moksha marga, only in fact very minuscule people are in the moksha marga. For everybody else, dharma, artha, kama are the goals of life. So what he is trying to say is that this Vishnu Sahasranamam chanting will also get you those goals also. So you don't say, I am not in doing, I don't want moksha in my life, so I don't need to chant Vishnu Sahasranamam. That you don't say. Because if you are looking for other things in life also, by chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam, you will get it. So what is Yudhishthira asking is, by chanting what, you will get everything. Not only moksha in terms of janma samsara bandhanat being removed, but also all your artha, kama, dharma, purusharthas also you will gain, right? So basically, it was the bhukti mukti pradhata, which is that japa, which is bhukti mukti pradhata. That is what he is asking, right? So again, he said, according to your view. So he's just, this is the way they address, respectfully address senior people. They won't say, what do you think? Like that, they will not ask. According to your view, what is this? Very reverentially addressed, right? So, which is the highest, japa is asked. So, Yudhishthira has asked 6 questions. So, before closing today, let us just briefly recall those 6 questions. The first one was Loke Kim Ekam Daivata. That was the first question. Which is that one Devata, that one Lord, that is spoken of in all the Shastras, by whose order alone all the other Devatas are functioning. Everything, Surya Devata, Chandra Devata, Vayu Devata, everything functions because of the order or command of that one Devata. Which is that one Devata? First question. Then Loke Kim Ekam Parayana. We saw it in today itself, last class. Param Ayanam. That ultimate end which is mentioned in all the Shastras. What should we take as the ultimate end or ultimate goal in our life? Second question. Then the third was 2 questions together. Tell me that one Lord who is worshipped by humans and by singing whose glories and doing archana, humans gain auspiciousness and a good life. This was the third and fourth question. So, stuvantaha, archantaha, the 2 words which are used, praising whose glory is stuvantaha, archantaha is seeking and worshipping whom human beings get a good life. Manavaha shubham prapnuyuh. Shubham is auspiciousness, we said. We can take good life also, right? And both in the form of in this life or afterlife also, going to Swarga and all that. And also moksha. This was the third and fourth questions. Then the fifth question was Sarva Dharmanam Kaha Paramaha Dharmaha. So among all the dharmas that you have told me, which dharma is the highest and the most exalted dharma? This was the fifth question. And the last and the sixth question was Kim Japan Janduhu Janma Samsara Bandhanat Muchyate. By chanting and repeating which mantra the Jiva born of ignorance would accomplish the end, which is a release from the bonds of samsara. The end is what? Referred in the fifth question, Parayana, right? That is the end he is referring to here. So accomplishing that end, which is a release from the bondage of samsara, a release from this life of becoming. So one can attain moksha by chanting what? One can attain moksha. This was the sixth question. So Shankaracharya concludes this section by saying, Kimekam iti shat prashnaha katitaha teshu paschatyaha anantaraha japya vishayaha shashta prashnaha anena shlokena parihriyate. Means starting from Kimekam Daivatam Loke, 6 questions were asked. This is all the simple explanation, right? And in those 6 questions, the last one, which related to the japa part, is being answered by Bhishma first. Bhishma first. That is what he says. Shashta prashnaha anena slokena parihriyate. Japa vishaya. So the question which was relating to japa, Bhishma takes up that question first for answering. So what are all the answers that Bhishma gives to Yudhishthira? We will see in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate
Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate.
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Thank you very much, all of you.
Namaste Guruji. Thank you.
Namaste. Dhanyawad Guruji.
Namaste Guruji. Namaste Guruji.
Hari Om Mahodaya.
Namaste Swamiji.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. No questions?
I have a question, Raghuji. Can I ask you a question, Raghuji, please?
Please.
The question you are talking about Manasa Japa.
Yeah.
Manasa Japa, is it two types? One is meditation, which is pranayama. A lot of people do, especially Western, they do the meditation,
Meditation is not pranayama. Pranayama is one anga of meditation. That's all.
Okay, so in Manasa Japa, you chant one syllable of Bhagavan and think about. That is called, you're talking about Manasa Japa, right?
Manasa Japa can be different things, Manasa Japa is what? You are engaging only your mind in that particular karma.
Okay.
Whether it is meditation, whether it is nididhyasanam, as we call it in Vedanta Shastra, or in Yoga Shastra, you call it the Samadhi Nilayam, right? Or here, just, only engaging your mind in that particular chanting. When we actually have one alambana means the object of meditation, okay? When we have one object of meditation, or for example, we actually one mantra, say Om Namah Shivaya or Om Narayanaya, that mantra we keep on chanting in the mind, That is one type of japa, Manasa Japa. Meditation is also Manasa Japa only, rather. Okay. But you can do the same thing by first memorizing the Vishnu Sahasranamam completely. Isn't it? Because unless you know the full Vishnu Sahasranamam, you can't do Manasa Japa. You have to open your eyes. The moment you open your eyes, not only Vishnu Sahasranamam book, but so many other things you will see. Mind will go somewhere else. So you have to close down all your external sense organs and then do the Manasa Japa. So there are different kinds of Manasa Japa are there. Manasa Japa basically means doing the Japa with only your mind as the instrument, nothing else. That's all.
No words comes from, you think, words come out of your mouth, right?
No. And that is a very difficult thing to do, because when you sit and do meditation or Manasa Japa, anything, mind is of such a nature that so many thoughts will start coming into the mind.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That is where the sadhaka has to actually manage that mind. What I talked about at Shamaha.
How about Gayatri Japam?
Gayatri Japam also Manasa Japa. Also Manasa Japa. So how you are able to gain control or gain the mastery over mind, continuously doing. And Puja Swami says, whenever that thoughts come, don't resist those thoughts. Let the thoughts come, let them pass. You come back to your japa. That is what he advises. Because if you resist those thoughts, then they will come back with more force.
Yes.
So what you should do, so many side talks are taking place.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of people are talking, Raghuji, because I can't hear you completely.